Hi Scrubs, I hope you're well. So a lot of you guys have been asking me how do I play Horsehaven on a PC, so I'm going to be showing you how to do that. I'm also going to talk about a couple of other things. This will include connecting to Facebook, what to do if you're not connecting to Facebook, and how to get more friends in Horsehaven, because one of the most crucial things is having a lot of friends in Horsehaven makes it a lot easier to play. So I'm going to talk about that at different points in the video. So to start off with, there's something that I have to mention because this is extremely important. Horsehaven does not save to Facebook. Unlike a lot of other app games that whenever you're connected to Facebook, it will save your game there, Horsehaven is not one of them. Okay, so Horsehaven is actually saved. If you're playing on iOS, it'll be saved to the Game Center. If you're playing on Android, it is saved to Google Play. So if you're logged into the Game Center for iOS or Google Play for Android, your game will be saved through a cloud backup. This is why an internet connection is necessary to play Horsehaven. So this is extremely important because if you're not connected to one of those two services for the right platform that you're on, you could lose all of your progress. So in order to get Horsehaven on your PC, I'm going to discuss two Android emulators for PC, and I'll provide the links in the description. One thing I want to mention is I am not going to be showing you how to use an iOS emulator in this, but there are other emulators out there. You might find that you have to try out a few to find which one works best for you. I'm going to show you BlueStacks and Nox, right? I personally use BlueStacks, and I have seen Nox used too for Horsehaven. I won't be using an iOS emulator in this demonstration, but if you want to go find one, quick search on YouTube or Google should help you do that, and you should find some iOS emulators if that's what you're looking for. But the method is much the same, and I will still mention important things that are both very crucial for Android and iOS during this video. So the first thing I want to mention is that if you intend to play Horsehaven on an Android device, you will need a Google Play account, and in order to access that, ensure you use an existing account or create a Google account to access the Google services. And I'm going to put a link in the description of how to do that, because that's a whole different thing entirely. So the other thing is the same will apply if you want to play Horsehaven on an iOS device. However, you will need to have an account for the iOS Game Center and therefore an Apple ID, and I will link that in the description as well. So the first thing obviously you want to do is decide on your emulator. So once you've picked an emulator, we're going to go ahead and install that. Now, I already have BlueStacks installed on my computer, so we're going to go ahead and download Nox. Now, I've just downloaded it, so I have it down here. So once you have your chosen emulator, okay, we're going to go ahead and begin installing this. So if we open this up, we're going to enable this and begin installing this on the computer. You can go through the tutorial or skip the tutorial on the emulator if you wish. Okay, so once the emulator is installed, you want to log into your Google Play account if you're on Android, or the Game Center for iOS. So we're going to go into settings here. Click on accounts and add account. We're going to click on the Google one. This is where you're going to need to sign in with your Google account that is connected to your game. So once you've connected that account, just return to the home screen with the back key, and this is where you want to go into the App Center. If you find that you don't get any results whenever you do this, one thing you can do is just go back and then out of any of the games that are here, click on one. And then click Open in Play Store app. Then literally just at the top here where the search bar is, type in Horsehaven World Adventures. And then here you'll see that it shows up. Click install. Click accept. And proceed. So once that is installed, click open. You may have to update the game whenever you do this. Then for the legal terms and privacy, just set your age to whatever. Okay, so once you have actually installed Horsehaven, this will either load your game automatically, or you will actually have to play through the tutorial. So we're going to have to play through the tutorial. So then what you'll get is an account alert. So we found an existing progress for your account. Which game do you want to continue? So obviously you want to load your old game, your higher level game, unless you're looking to keep the current game and move on with that. But obviously I want to load this game. So this account pop-up will come up and load this game. Do you want to download game progress to override the current data? You will lose both your current progress and yes items. So we want to click yes. So as you can see, it has loaded my current rank 39 game after doing that. So obviously at any point, if you're unsure if you're connected to the Google Play services, just go into the settings again of your app and check that you have your Google account connected. And obviously you can click on here and click sign in if at any point you're really unsure about that. So that is how you get Horsehaven onto your PC. I also have the BlueStacks version of this, as I mentioned earlier. The method is much the same as to Nox. As you can see there, we have Horsehaven installed on that. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, because this is quite important, I'm going to be talking about connecting to Facebook and how to get friends if you're not connecting to Facebook. So the first thing, and I think this is really important to stress, if you're going to connect your Horsehaven to Facebook, ensure you create a Horsehaven Facebook account that's not a personal one, because you're going to be adding random strangers to your personal Facebook, could potentially be dangerous. So you want to create a Horsehaven Facebook that doesn't have your real name or anything like that. Now, you do not have to connect Facebook to Horsehaven. It is simply a way you can increase the number of friends you can add, you know, get more access to different players with the different horse breeds, which you can then breed to and unlock more breeds. Now, I'm going to go down here and click on the friend icon here. And I'm going to click on Facebook. And we're going to connect to Facebook. So we're going to log into Facebook here. So you previously logged into Horsehaven World Adventure with Facebook. Would you like to continue? Continue. Okay, so this obviously will then load all of my current friends. Obviously we already had them loaded. It did actually already have a lot of them loaded because I already had them friended on the game. But once you have Horsehaven connected to Facebook, as I said, with one that's not a personal Facebook, if you want to add a specific person, then you both need to have Horsehaven connected to Facebook. Because if there's a certain friend on Facebook you want to add, you need to make sure that they're connected to Facebook with Horsehaven, and you are as well. And the other thing as well with that is, once you've both done those two things, so you've both got Horsehaven, you're on the same game server, so you're not playing on different ones. You know, if your friend plays on iOS and you play on Android, you can't be friends on Horsehaven. You have to be on the same one. So if you're both on Android, that'll work. If you're both on iOS, that'll work. So once you've done that, once you're both logged into Horsehaven via Facebook, you should be automatically added to each other's friends list in the game. Now, if you go down here and you find that they're not showing up, and it's usually done by level, well, rank, so it'll start off with the highest and go down to the lowest. If you find that they're not there in the list, what you can do then is just close the game down and reopen it. Normally that will fix it. So if you did connect Horsehaven to your Facebook account, then you can use Facebook to log into your account from another device. Let's say you get a tablet and play on multiple devices. But you need to remember that Horsehaven being connected to Facebook does not back up your game. It's the Google Play services in the Game Center that does that, and that's very, very crucial. If you want your game progress to save, make sure you're logged into those services. Now, something that I want to remind is just that Android players and iOS players are on different game servers, as I kind of mentioned earlier on the video, and therefore it's not possible to be friends with a player who's on a different game server. So Horsehaven can be played on iOS and Android, but not together. So something that I have experienced with Horsehaven and a lot of people have talked about before is the friend bug. So where I've added someone on Facebook as a friend, we have both connected Horsehaven via Facebook, but neither of us were showing up on each other's friends list. This does occasionally happen, and there is a way to get around it, and it's either by joining the same Horsehaven club or creating a new club. So we're going to quickly click down on this here. So I have a club here. So what you can do essentially with this is you can advertise that club on Global. Now, I don't believe I can advertise this club on Global right now, but basically when you're in a club on Horsehaven, you can actually friend people. So you can add friends and request to friend people. So basically, if you find that you're unable to see each other in the game, one thing you can do is create a club or join the same club. If you create a club, advertise it on the global club list, your friend can join the club, and then you can friend each other via this. Now, obviously, if I click on here, this is join the club. Club owners can post ads where to create new members from across the world. This does cost 10 diamonds, and once you advertise, from what I can remember, there is a certain amount of time that you have to wait before you can advertise again. So it's going to cost you diamonds, and the club will be available for anybody in the world to join because it's going to be advertised globally. And there is a cooldown period where you can't advertise again, and that seemed to be about 48 hours from what I remember after advertising mine. So if you advertise it and your friend misses the advertisement, you won't be able to re-advertise immediately, from my own experience. Now, the other thing is, I believe that there's also a slight cooldown period. If somebody leaves a club, I think they have to wait a certain amount of time before they can join a new one. So they should be aware of that as well. What you could do, obviously, if you don't want to make your own club, you could try and join a common friends club, because they might be able to invite you both to a club, and then you can add each other that way from in here. So as far as I'm aware, there's currently no limit on the number of friends you can have, because there's players out there who have hundreds and hundreds of friends. And if you need more friends and you're connected to Facebook, join Horsehaven Facebook groups. And this is why I recommended creating a non-personal Facebook, because if you're adding players from these groups and you have personal Facebook, then strangers will be able to see your posts unless you're extremely careful with your security settings. So my advice is to make a Horsehaven Facebook, not using your real name. Once you join one of those Horsehaven Facebook groups, I'll link some of the ones down below that I use. Check their rules, and if you're allowed, post a message asking for friends and state what platform that you're using, if you're using iOS or Android. There are some specific groups that are just for certain players, so there are iOS Horsehaven Facebook groups, and there are Android Facebook groups as well. Some of them are just more general, just for everyone. So basically, if you post and say, I'm on Android, can you add me? Then players from the same platform will be able to add you. And I will, as I said, I will leave some of the groups that I use down in the description. Now, if you're not using Facebook and you don't want to use Facebook, and there's nothing wrong with not using Facebook, there's a couple of things I want to mention. So if you're not using Facebook, as we've seen, Facebook is not key to this, because your Google Play, if you're on Android, or your Game Center for iOS, that's where you're installing your game from and loading it. If it doesn't automatically load your saved game, sometimes that does happen, as we saw. I had to play through the game tutorial. Then we got the pop-up that told me, hey, we found this game save, do you want to load it? And I went, yes, because I obviously want that one. You have to make sure you pick the right one, because if you overwrite it, it's gone, okay? So don't, I didn't want to continue with my rank 5 game. I wanted to get the rank 39 one. That's why we made sure we clicked that. Because obviously, if you're not logged into the Game Center and the Google Play, you run the risk of losing all your game data, and you don't want to lose all your progress, and you don't want to overwrite it with the wrong one either. Now, the most important thing, obviously, if you're not using Facebook, is can you still add friends? And the answer is yes. So there are still ways to add friends, and obviously with the club, for example. Some players will do what's called club hopping. So what they'll do is they'll join a club, and they'll send every member of that club, an invitation, friend invite. So if we just went in and did this, right? Okay. Hypothetically, if that's what we were doing right now, we'd just go along and we'd add everyone. And then, once we'd sent them all an invite, they would leave the club, and then they would join a new one and repeat this process. There is a short cooldown period where, as I mentioned earlier, if you leave a club, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can join another one, so just bear that in mind. Now, the other way to add friends is, I don't know if I'm going to be lucky enough to see but you do see these little vehicles that drive through your ranch. What sometimes happens is there's a blue car that goes past and it has a little pop-up above it, normally with somebody's profile picture. This is another way that you can add friends. It is sometimes slow. I normally see at least one a day, normally. So basically, the blue car will pass through your ranch and it will suggest a random friend. And normally, from what I've personally experienced, is this person is normally the same rank as you. So you can click on them and then visit their ranch and then click invite at the side of the screen. I was hoping that maybe the blue car would pass through my ranch to be able to show you, but unfortunately it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But that's an overview of, as I said, of how to install this onto the PC. As I said, the way of doing this for BlueStacks is very similar to Nox, and you can add friends whether you're on Facebook or not, and just some of the things to bear in mind, and if you have any problems. But anyway, scrubs, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a lovely day, and bye!